"21 people arrested by ICAC in connection with renovation projects in housing estates." Lawmakers Starry Lee and Ronak Chan Chunying contest for the presidency of the Legislative Council. And death toll rises to over 100 in fire in a Swiss skiing town. Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. The Independent Commission Against Corruption arrested 21 people in connection with two large-scale renovation projects in Kwun Tong. Sources say the two housing complexes are Hopewell House and Tsui Ping Estate. Mimo Singai reports.
This is Hopewell House on Hip Wall Street in Kwun Tong. The 60-year-old housing complex has more than 400 units. In a December operation, the ICAC targeted large-scale renovation projects at two housing estates in Kwun Tong. In one of the projects, a contractor had allegedly bribed a project consultant and several incorporated owners' members through a middleman to secure work contracts worth about $33 million. In the other project, which was at the preparatory stage, some middlemen had allegedly collected proxy votes from flat owners by corrupt means to manipulate the incorporated owners of the estate so that the relevant renovation work contracts could be secured. The ICAC arrested 21 suspects aged between 30 and 81. Some of them had a triad background. Sources say another affected complex is Choi Ping North Estate, which has more than 6,000 units. Moments 9, TVB News.
Lawmakers Starry Lee and Ronak Chan will compete for the Legislative Council presidency at the start of the new LegCo term. An election will take place next Thursday. Starry Lee, a member of the DAB party representing the Kowloon Central constituency, was nominated by lawmaker Peter Hsu from the wholesale and retail constituency. She was supported by 9 lawmakers, including Andrew Lam and Peter Douglas Kuhn. Her opponent, Ronak Chan Chunying, was nominated by lawmaker Jimmy Ung from the industrial constituency and was backed by Priscilla Leung and Carmen Can. A special forum will be held by the legislature next Thursday morning to allow both candidates to explain their manifesto and answer questions from lawmakers. The hospital authority recorded a drop in the number of patients seeking treatment at accident and emergency departments in the city's public hospitals yesterday after A&E fees were increased at the start of 2026. But the waiting time remains relatively unchanged. Timothy Lee tells us more.
The hospital authority said around 3,800 patients sought A&E treatment at public hospitals on New Year's Day, a lower figure than that of previous years, with most patients not being in serious condition. Beginning this year, non-critical patients seeking treatment at public hospitals' accident and emergency departments have to pay a $400 fee, up from $180. However, the measure did not result in any noticeable changes in the waiting time for accident and emergency services. HA Chief Manager Larry Lee said the waiting time currently ranges from 70 to 80 minutes, but stressed that it is too early to determine the impact of the fee increase on A&E patient figures. Meanwhile, the HA has loosened its medical fee waiver application requirements at the start of this year, having received over 50,000 applications and inquiries as of now. The HA stressed they will remain flexible when dealing with patients. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Hong Kong's retail sector experienced a 6.5% growth year-on-year in November last year, a consecutive rise for 7 months. The provisional estimate for retail sales was $33.7 billion, but continuous growth slowed, facing a monthly drop of 0.4 percentage points. The greatest boost was recorded among durable goods at over 20% year-on-year, 27% year-on-year, with the strongest growth seen in electronics. A more than 9% growth was recorded for medicine and makeup products. There was a major drop in sales of fuel, books, and stationery products. About 40 people were killed and another 115 injured, many of them seriously, after a fire ripped through a bar's New Year's celebration in the Swiss Alpine resort of Crans, Montana. Switzerland's President Guy Parmelin expressed his condolences to the families of the victims, describing the fire as one of the worst tragedies our country has ever experienced. Tracy Furness has more.
People gathered to light candles at a memorial site near Le Constellation, the crowded bar that caught fire in the early hours of New Year's Day in the Swiss resort of Crans-Montana. About 40 people died in the fire and 115 injured, many seriously. 13 of the wounded were Italian citizens, and another 6 Italians are unaccounted for, according to Italy's ambassador to Switzerland. Floral tributes too were left at the resort, best known as an international ski and golf venue and its upscale nightlife. 19-year-old Nathan Uganen said he was outside when the fire started. He said he was still in shock. "I can't comprehend what happened. I feel like it's actually a nightmare. I didn't sleep a second last night. Everything kept coming back to me because I saw people being resuscitated. I saw people completely burned. I saw people dying," he said. President of the Swiss Confederation, Guy Parmelin, said it's one of the worst tragedies our country has ever experienced. A church service in the town was held for victims of the deadly fire, where people were seen crying and hugging. Investigations are underway as to the cause of the blaze, not against anyone, but to illuminate the circumstances of this dramatic fire, Beatrice Pilou, Valais Canton's Attorney General, said. The country will hold 5 days of mourning. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
In the Netherlands, Dutch firefighters battled to put out a blaze that ripped through a historic Amsterdam church in the early hours of New Year's Day. Footage from Dutch media shows flames engulfing a tower of Vondel Church located inside the Dutch capital's famous Vondel Park. The fire broke out shortly after midnight. No injuries were reported. Still ahead, international lion dance competition takes place in Hong Kong. New CEO of MTR, Jenny Yeung, shares her plans. And New York City's new mayor lists his priorities. Welcome back. The Hong Kong Dragon and Lion Festival is being held in Hong Kong. Many tourists were excited about catching a glimpse of the action. Among the events on the second and final day of the festival was an international dragon and lion dance competition. Mimo Singhai reports.
Vibrant lion costumes and rhythmic instruments next to the Tsim Sha Tsui promenade. On the second and final day of the festival, spectators could watch 30 dragon and lion dance teams compete against each other. Each team had to design its own picking the green style, a customary part of the dance that symbolizes good fortune to represent the lion's 8 emotions such as joy, anger, and sorrow. With the highest mark being 10, judges assess the teams based on aspects like form and choreography.
Oh, well, I think it's partly having the kids exposed to the Chinese culture. Of course, it's nice for all of us to be in touch with our roots. And our kids love the lion dance, so we're really glad to be part of this.
I mean, these are Chinatown in Brisbane, and they do have sort of the dragon dancing at New Year. So we've only ever seen it at that time, but this is wonderful to watch. So yeah, we just don't understand the judging. So
I think tourists like to see this because it's really typical, and especially people from Europe or America that are not used to this.
Among the teams, a few were new to the festival, including this Malaysian group whose performance was about a lion who helped legendary Chinese folk hero, the Mad Monk, find his lost Buddha necklace.
The difference between other country and Hong Kong, maybe Hong Kong will be more on the weather condition, and because this is the competition will be held besides the big sea, so the wind will be like quite big. I will hope that more event or maybe shows like this in the public, so that more people will know our culture and we will explode it to the whole world.
Did you know that some lion heads are made with rattan? Here at Experience Zone, visitors can learn about lion dance through its making and history. Memos 9, TVB News.
MTR's new Chief Executive Officer, Jenny Young Mei-chun, has taken office today. She says her priorities include operating a high-quality, efficient railway and strengthening the resilience of railway assets. She says there will be a future investment of at least $140 billion to advance 6 new railway projects involving Lantau Island, Tuen Mun, and the northern metropolis. She expects these projects to be completed between 2027 and 2034. They will bring more than 20 new stations to Hong Kong while building high-quality communities with railway hubs. The U.S. State Department has called for restraint and dialogue in its response to China's recent military drills near Taiwan. Beijing said relevant countries should respect the One China policy and stop making trouble in matters concerning the Taiwan Strait. Danny Zhou reports.
Earlier this week, the People's Liberation Army's Eastern Command had wrapped up a 2-day live-fire drill dubbed Justice Mission 2025 that simulated blockade of Taiwan's main ports in a show of force against separatists and external interference. Washington has responded. In a New Year's Day message, the U.S. State Department said the United States supports peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and opposes unilateral changes to the status quo. A spokesperson said China's military activities and rhetoric towards the island and others in the region increase tensions unnecessarily. He urged Beijing to exercise restraint, cease intimidating moves in areas around Taiwan, and engage in meaningful dialogue instead. China's defense ministry again defended the drill's legitimacy, reiterating today that the Taiwan question is purely China's internal affairs, and Beijing will not allow any interference from any external force. China said relevant countries and institutions should steadfastly uphold the One China principle and stop supporting or condoning the Taiwan independence forces. The PLA will continue to intensify military training and preparedness across the board in a bid to thwart any external interference or conspiracies that infringe on the integrity of national sovereignty. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
U.S. President Donald Trump indicated that he was taking a higher daily dose of aspirin than doctors recommended amid rising scrutiny over his fitness. The 79-year-old, in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, said the large dose causes bruises easily and that doctors had suggested he should take a lower dose, but he declined because he's been taking it for 25 years. Trump said he believed aspirin is good for thinning blood. Since his return to the White House last year, Trump has often been seen with bruises on his hands, such as in meetings with French President Emmanuel Macron. Trump also told the Wall Street Journal he underwent a CT scan instead of an MRI in October to rule out any cardiovascular issues. No abnormalities were detected in the checks. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says he's open to talks on a deal with the United States to fight drug trafficking in an interview aired on Venezuelan state TV. The interview was recorded on New Year's Eve as the U.S. military announced it struck 5 alleged drug smuggling boats over 2 days. The latest crackdown brought the total number of vessel strikes to 35 and people killed in the Trump administration's so-called war on drugs to at least 115. Maduro showed willingness to negotiate an agreement to combat drug trafficking and said Venezuela is ready for U.S. investment in oil, like with Chevron, wherever they want and whenever they want. After working part of the night in his new office, New York's new mayor, Zohran Mamdani, returned to City Hall in a taxi cab around midday Thursday for a grander public inauguration. The program for Mamdani's inauguration included remarks by Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, fellow Democratic socialists at the vanguard of the Democratic Party's liberal wing. Daniel Rowell tells us more.
Democrat Zoran Mamdani became New York City's mayor on Thursday, vowing during a public swearing-in ceremony on the steps of City Hall to enact an aggressive agenda aimed at making the U.S.'s largest city more affordable for working people. Mamdani promoted his core campaign promises of universal childcare, affordable rents and free bus services.
The only expectation I seek to reset is that of small expectations. Beginning today, we will govern expansively and audaciously. We may not always succeed, but never will we be accused of lacking the courage to try. To those who insist that the era of big government is over, hear me when I say this. No longer will City Hall hesitate to use its power to improve New Yorkers' lives.
The program for Mamdani's inauguration included remarks by Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, fellow Democratic socialists at the vanguard of the Democratic Party's liberal wing.
New York, we have chosen courage over fear. We have chosen prosperity for the many over spoils for the few.
At a time in our country's history when we are seeing too much hatred, too much divisiveness, and too much injustice, thank you for electing Zoran Mamdani as your mayor. New York, thank you for inspiring our nation.
Mamdani, a member of his party's left-wing Democratic Socialist faction, was elected last November in a prominent victory that could influence this year's midterm elections that will determine control of the U.S. Congress. Some Democrats have embraced his style, while Republicans portray him as a foil on the national political stage. The 34-year-old campaigned heavily on cost-of-living issues and was sharply critical of Republican U.S. President Donald Trump, whose approval rating has fallen over the past year amid economic concerns. Many of New York's 8 million residents expect him to be a disruptive political force. Dan Ryle, TV News.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un attended a New Year's celebration in Pyongyang Wednesday. North Korea's official state media reported Kim's attendance at the event at Mayday Stadium, which was attended by up to 150,000 people. North Korean television coverage showed Kim Jong-un's wife, Ri Sol-ju, attending the event, which is unusual as she hasn't been seen in public for months. It also showed Kim's daughter sitting between Kim and his wife and giving her father a kiss just after midnight. Kim gave a speech which referred to North Korean soldiers helping Russia in the conflict in Ukraine, but he didn't mention other international issues. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.